The red pilling of America. I think there's a lot going on politically. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about how America is finally beginning to figure out what's going on with Joe Biden. And I think that there's a number of things that are happening. Number one of the stories that I presented to you in the 5 o'clock hour was in Oregon, where, they had this law to decriminalize drugs. And then they realized that over the past several years, basically Oregon and specifically Portland has turned into a hellscape because of this. And so now the Democrat governor in the state of Oregon has come out and they are now going to recriminalize drug use in Oregon because what they've realized is that this was not a good policy. But by the way, this was a Democrat policy, and these are Democrats realizing that what they were doing was wrong and had absolutely destroyed their state. So again, the red pilling of America. In that case, it was Oregon. But what about nationally? Is Joe Biden's polling getting any better? And is it something we as conservatives should worry about? Well, this is what Democrat strategist James Carville, he's been out there saying that, yes, things are looking a tad better for Joe Biden, but Democrats, don't get your hopes up.
I do think that the polling has gotten a little bit better. That I do. But we're not going to replicate the 2020 coalition. President Biden could win the election, but in terms of identifying which party, in terms of building it, as you go forward, the male detachment in the United States is a significant problem, particularly among what we would call non-white males.
Male detachment in America. You guys feel detached? Johnny, Ken? I'll say me. No, I don't feel detached at all. Am I angry and frustrated with what Joe Biden has done to America? Clearly, yes. And that makes me feel more motivated than ever to try to inspire folks to come out and vote. But I'll ask, you folks on the super text line, 615-737-9986. If you're a male, do you feel detached? I'll ask everybody. Do you feel detached? I don't feel detached. I feel, again, motivated. But Joe Biden, according to James Carville, is doing poorly with, as he says, non-white males. Well, everybody knows the reason for that. The reason why Joe Biden is not doing well with these non-white males specifically is because of the economy and jobs. And how many Americans are losing their jobs that are being taken over by migrants or illegals, like what happened to Tyson, where they shut down that Tyson plant. Was it in Iowa? I think it was in Iowa. And he had 1,200 Americans, their jobs gone in an instant. And they were taken over by a bunch of illegals. Listen to this headline from the Daily Express U.S. It's their U.S. version. Joe Biden has won a major poll, ladies and gentlemen. You know what the poll was? Biggest fool in American politics. And Joe Biden won that poll. Headline, Joe Biden crowned biggest fool in American politics after this new humiliating poll. They say after a presidency full of gaps and concerns over his mental health, Joe Biden has been rated the biggest fool in U.S. politics in a new and latest survey. Biden won, by the way, with resoundingly 30%. Donald Trump came in at 22%. So Biden has indeed won the race as the biggest fool in American politics. Now, we didn't need a poll to show that. Even the Democrats understand that Biden is the biggest fool. Biggest issue for Joe Biden right now is that he has an RFK problem, RFK Jr. And this is going to be a big problem. When you look at the polling that I'm going to share with you coming up next, there's some new polling that is out just this morning that is going to tell you, and The Hill does a great breakdown on this, where Biden may be doing a little bit better in the polls, a skosh better in the polls. But the reality is that with Robert Kennedy Jr. out there, he is clearly pulling from Joe Biden more than he's pulling from Donald Trump. Kennedy has been averaging close to 10% in polling from the Hill Decision Desk HQ polling, making him the highest polling third-party candidate in a presidential race since Ross Perot in 1992. The question we have always asked, who will RFK Jr. poll from, Joe Biden or Donald Trump? I think now we have enough polls out there that will show that RFK Jr. is polling from Joe Biden. And they've got a number here. A Harris x Forbes poll taken March 25th found Donald Trump leading Biden in a head-to-head matchup by 3 percentage points, 46 to 43%. You throw in Kennedy, West, and Jill Stein into the race, Kennedy receives 12 percentage points. Donald Trump still leads Joe Biden by 3 points. Meanwhile, they say other polls have shown some concern for Biden when third-party candidates are factored in. A Quinnipiac University poll taken March 21 through 25th showed Joe Biden ahead by 3 points only when facing Donald Trump. But Trump takes a 1-point lead when Kennedy, who received 13 percentage points, West and Stein were also included, and that means that obviously Donald Trump takes the lead when, again, Kennedy is factored in. So I think that the Biden supporters are really hungry for someone other than Joe Biden. But Donald Trump's support, I think, seems pretty solid. I'll say it this way. Whose support is more solid, Donald Trump or Joe Biden? I think clearly those people who are supportive of Donald Trump, they are rock solid by and large, especially when Ron DeSantis dropped out. I would say especially then, although DeSantis, his political star, fell reasonably quickly. But the Democrats, how seriously are they taking RFK Jr.? The Democrats, according to The Hill, have now formed a team to battle just these third-party candidates and their messaging. Here's one more. Biden led Donald Trump by 3 points in a Reuters Ipsos poll from early March, when respondents were required to choose between them. But Trump led by 1 point when the poll included Kennedy, the other candidates, and the ability for respondents to say that they were not sure. In other words, it feels like every single poll that is out there, you see Kennedy pulling from Joe Biden. In head-to-head matchups with Biden and Trump, Biden is beginning to do better. However, when you factor in those third-party candidates, Donald Trump ultimately takes the lead. And I think there's a number of things going on. You obviously have Kennedy surging. People like what he has to say. That's number one. But number two, you also have Biden, who regardless of whether he is in the polls, he continues to have a hard time. Gas prices are going back up again, for example. Former Congressman turned Fox News analyst Jason Chaffetz, he put Joe Biden on absolutely full blast yesterday, and it was all about lying.
The fundamental problem I think Biden has is he's lied to us over the last 3 years. He said that Bidenomics works and that inflation is down. It's not down. Life is more expensive. They told us for 3+ years that the border was safe and secure. It's not. You just have to watch the stories and you see that it's not true. And then he tells us that everything's going to be okay overseas and that he supports Israel. But his actions say otherwise. So he has a credibility problem and a communications problem because he doesn't have the cognitive capability or the energy to go out and match a Donald Trump and tell a story that's believable to the American people.
Yeah, he's right. Now, my question for you folks listening, because, they said in one of the polls, one of the sound bites, that the American people, specifically American men, feel detached right now. And I just don't know if that's true. I don't feel detached at all. I feel more engaged than ever. I do. And I'm looking at the super text line. The Members Nutrition super text line is 615-737-9986. And people are telling me they don't feel detached. They are more motivated than ever. And one of the things that I will tell you is that just the fact that you right now are listening to WTN, you are engaged in the news, you are engaged in the political process. People that listen to this radio station and this radio show, my opinion, certainly are not detached. But are you feeling detached? 615-737-9986. They, by the way, had a big old Fox News poll. Take it for what it's worth. It's a Fox News poll. But they actually asked, what do you think is the biggest accomplishment of the Biden administration? Do you know that 38% of people that were asked actually couldn't name anything that the Biden administration had accomplished? Literally not one thing. Now, if you're a Democrat and you're asked this question, what has the Biden administration accomplished? Oh, my gosh. They'll go on and on about, trans rights, and they'll go on and on about open borders and, all of these other things that the Biden administration and Joe Biden, the Democrats, have done, in my opinion, to destroy America. And the Democrats are all for that. They love what Joe Biden is doing. But Republicans, independents, and moderates, they look at all of this and they say absolutely not.